back on the episode 6, and I have my co-host Ehab.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to our Galaxy podcast.
Yeah, on this episode, we finally have a female one.
Finally.
Yeah, finally.
Our first lady.
First lady on, not his first lady, but... So, ladies and gentlemen, we have Jana on our podcast. Please welcome to our podcast, and please tell a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much. First of all, I'm really honored that I am the first woman being here. My name is Jana. I work as a country director of Caritas Czech Republic in Mongolia. It's an international Czech-based NGO, non-governmental organization. I have been in Mongolia constantly for the last 5 years, but first time I came to Mongolia, it was 2012.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's like most of our guests have been here like somewhere around 10 years.
10 years or so.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's...
So what brought you first to Mongolia? Like back in 2012, what was the story there?
So I met my then boyfriend in the US back in 2011. And I came to visit him. We somehow managed to stay in touch. And I came here in winter. Not a good idea to come here for the first time in winter. So 2012, I came here for a couple of weeks. And then 1 year later, I basically moved here and I stayed here 1.5 years.
Wow. So yeah, I'm guessing from saying you met your boyfriend in the US, that means... he was Mongolian.
Yes. He was. Well, he still is.
Well, he's not your boyfriend anymore.
Because he became my husband.
Oh, that figures.
That's why I was using past tense. Huh?
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, he became my husband, and we have 2 beautiful kids.
Oh, wow.
How old are they?
My son just reached 1 year yesterday, and my daughter is almost 4 years old.
Oh, so you're a wealthy family then. I always tell most of my guests, do you know why we call wealthy family?
I will be very happy to hear.
Yeah, in Mongolia, when you have a son and a daughter,
right.
then it's called a wealthy family.
Okay, so we do not need it anymore, right? We had one from each.
So that's interesting. Can you tell me the story of how you guys met? What were you doing in the US? What was he doing? And
yeah, so both of us, we participated in the Work and Travel USA program. It's basically a program, I'm not sure, I think it's still going on. But that time it was mostly for the students from Central and Eastern Europe and some Asian countries. And the main objective was to come to the US, work for a couple of months, for a couple of weeks, and then you are free to travel around. So both of us used this chance, and we met at the same place, which was the fish factory in Alaska. So it was so remote.
in Alaska?
In Alaska.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So it was working 16, 18 hours every day. We earned quite a lot of money. Then I traveled around the US and I spent them all. But it was an amazing experience. And as a result of it, we are now married and have kids and have a beautiful family.
Nice.
Amazing.
Nice.
But then it sounded like you traveled US alone.
I traveled with my friends, and not with my boyfriend, now my husband. Yeah.
But 18 hours working together.
Yeah.
It was more than enough.
Yeah, more than enough, yeah. Yeah, that's a great experience.
Yeah. I mean, here we always meet people like married to Mongolians and vice versa, but it's very rare. Very few people who are like, the wife is foreigner and the husband is Mongolian. So, what are the cultural differences that first impacted you on that?
That's a very good question. Because we have been together for so long, I kind of got used to most of it. But what I liked from the beginning was the relationship with the family. So basically Mongolians are closer, they kind of family unit, people are very close to each other, they help each other, support each other, which of course it's still the same in my country or in Europe in the
So
West.
you're Slovakia.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
from Slovakia.
Yeah.
So it's the same, but I would say it's not as close as it is here. It's not that the relationships would be so close. And then attitude towards life, and sometimes it's more kind of easygoing. Here we are. In our culture, it's more about competition, about how much you're gonna achieve, etc. And here, I still think it's more easygoing, and it's not as competitive as in other environments.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right on these things. But I remember I back home in London, I have a really good friends of mine and a family, and one from Slovakia, and the family orientated kind of in terms of closeness. I thought it was more a little bit more than say the UK.
Right.
Yeah, definitely it's more than the UK.
Yes.
So I
yes,
assumed
yes.
it would be kind of similar to here in some, but
Yes. Yeah. It's similar, but it's not the same. I would say.
And how about the big shocks? Because Europeans will come here and it's like,
Oh my God.
back in 2012.
2012, yeah.
Oh,
We should start from there.
2012. So I remember I came here, and of course I checked with the forecast, and I saw -15. It cannot be so bad. But then I came here, and my jacket was just too thin for Mongolian winter, and I got sick almost immediately.
Oh.
And of course things like pollution, it's something that I didn't expect, but at the time it
It
was
was really
already
bad back
yes,
then.
yes,
that
yes,
was the
yeah,
worst.
Especially in UV.
Yeah.
right, and an interest from people to know me, foreign people on the street, or when we went to a bar, when we went to a pub, just people were interested in me, what I'm doing here, where I'm from, etc. Maybe not back in 2012, but it just happens to me when I take a taxi. All taxi drivers they just want to know how many kids I have and what am I doing and everything about my personal life. So that was a big shock because in Europe it just doesn't
Nobody
happen.
asks you about your
No,
personal life.
Wouldn't
no one.
interfere
No.
in your
Yes,
personal life,
yes,
right?
yes, exactly, exactly. Yeah, especially closeness, but also not only from family, but also from friends. Of course, I do have friends, and I did have friends back in Europe, but still, it seems to me that here is more on a different level. These friendships here is more. Sometimes it's more like a family than just friends.
I think there's maybe something I shouldn't say in front of him to give him a big head. But when you have a friend here, you go beyond the shallow level, and you go a bit deeper. Friends are for life kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's not so easy to develop such friendships back in Europe.
Yeah.
I have most of my very good friends basically from high school. I did not manage, maybe it was also my mistake, I did not manage to really have or still keep good friends at the university or then at work. We keep in touch, we like each other pictures, etc., but it's not like we are very close to each other.
That's very interesting. Me too. Really. I mean, I can count them with less with one hand. The people I'm
You grew up with.
No, the people from university
Right.
that I'm connected with. But friends from school, I still pick up the phone and call them now. So
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, even for me, I have. When I was in high school, I changed two, 3 schools, I think.
Yeah.
And then the mid school and the high school, both, I have 2 different groups in Facebook that we still keep in touch. And if there's anything that our high school teacher needs, we support. But not much contact for the university. But I'm still friends with them. They're really popular journalists here now. But then I would just contact him every once in a while, just work-wise, not really be close friends.
But I also think when you develop friendship with people outside of your university environment, they actually continue being friends. Which is
Yes.
a bit different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, so our next question is like we would like to know about the NGO that you do, and then please share about this
Of
with
course.
us a little bit.
Of course. So so basically, I shared it back in 2013. I stayed here for 1.5 years. Then after 1.5 years, I went back home, back to Europe. Me and my husband, we lived in Germany, in the Czech Republic, and then I was offered this job opportunity. So we decided to come back. And we have been here since 2018, so it's been more than 5 years. So for more than 5 years, I've been working with Caritas Czech Republic NGO. We use the abbreviation CCR. So CCR was established in Mongolia in 2007. So it's been already more than
more
16
than
16
years. Yeah.
yes, approximately 16 years. We have implemented different development projects and provided humanitarian aid in different sectors, including agriculture, environment, waste management, working with youth, working with civil society, working with herders, many different sectors and very interesting projects. And currently we have 3 ongoing projects. One is on supporting youth CSOs, civil society organizations. The one is on plastic recycling, and the third one is on working with small and medium enterprises in the agri-food sector.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
You should meet Ashley.
You should meet Ashley. Definitely.
You
He
should
grows
meet
his,
Ashley.
he has like these
Geothermal
Wow.
farming.
Yeah.
He's one of the like firsts, I think.
Yeah.
Hopefully he was not, but he's
So
testing it in his next
Sounds
to his
cool.
house, and then
Yeah.
oh, I saw him on an interview like
Yeah.
a few days ago
Yeah,
on TV
he's
talking
gonna,
about geothermal.
He wants to grow year round, like including in winter.
Yeah.
Using
I think I've watched a couple of his YouTube videos.
Simple Wild Living.
Yes. Yeah.
I just say it. I see this. These stands like when you're walking next to the crossroads.
Yeah.
In Seoul Street also, right?
I think about
It might be.
recycling.
It
and
might be.
I saw the logo of CCR. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so nice to hear.
Yeah, he told me like, look, you see that logo? You see that logo? Which one? That is her. I'm like, what is her?
Yeah, that's mine. No, we have an amazing local team. Basically, I'm the only foreigner, expat, working for CCR in Mongolia, and the rest of my team are Mongolians, local professionals. They are really great, and without them, there will be no NGO.
So, just asking in terms of language, how you can like Czech and Slovak.
No, she has 7 languages. I counted.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, you
No.
have that information before.
Like she knows Czech, of course, English, and Russian a
Little bit, yes.
Yes, and Mongolian.
Yes.
And what was it? Hopals?
Huh?
French.
My French is long forgotten. I still keep it on my CV, but I haven't used it for ages. So my native language is Slovak, but Slovak language is very similar to Czech. Yeah, because we used to be one country, and basically when I was growing up,
I can't say it.
only for a few years. But when I was growing up, we used to watch Czech cartoons. So for us, for Slovaks, it's very, very easy to understand Czech language. For Czechs, it's a little bit more difficult, and if they do not have Slovak friends, they might not get all the words that we use. But basically, our 2 languages are very similar, and Czech and Slovak Republic are like our friends. Very friendly countries.
It's something like Turkey and like Kazakh here, right?
Yeah, I think so.
They could
yeah,
understand each other a little bit, but then there are words that they don't understand.
Yes. So then English. I learned German, but since I came to Mongolia, I haven't been using it that much. And a little bit of French, a little bit of Russian, of course Mongolian. I should have, or I definitely should learn more and improve the level of my Mongolian language more, but unfortunately it's always about lack of time. So but I will try. I will try to work hard.
But then this I think like the expats who's living here learning Mongolian language, and I think this is a big thing for it should be a big influence from the partner that you're living with, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he or she can speak English, then you're not learning Mongolian for
Right.
sure.
We tried it. We tried it a couple of times that he would speak Mongolian so that I would improve, but it didn't work. It just didn't
Yeah.
work. Since the very first day, we communicated in English, so it became kind of our language for communication. So we do not really make an effort.
How about the kids?
The kids, so my daughter, she kind of keeps mixing 3 languages. So the best language of hers is Mongolian because most of the people she's with are
The
Mongolian.
community, right?
Yes, the community, they speak Mongolian. She also goes to a Mongolian kindergarten. And then English, the second is English because of watching some cartoons. And also she hears what we are saying, what we are talking about. And then the third language is Slovak. I speak to her only in Slovak because I really want her. I understand most probably her Slovak language will never be as good as, for instance, mine. But still I want her to at least understand. So she will.
The native language.
Yes, yes. So in case she decides to go to Europe, go to study into Slovakia or Czech Republic, she will have more opportunities and more chances to get a good education when
Exactly.
talking these languages.
But I think it works.
Yeah.
I grew up in a house where my mom was just speaking to me in Arabic.
Right.
I didn't have to reply back in Arabic.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to use my Arabic until I was like in my teens.
Okay.
It took a bit of practice, but I became very good at it.
Yeah.
I can't read or write it, but no, I can read a little bit, but but it's good.
Yeah.
I was also wondering, like, when you first came to Mongolia, right? What did the public think you were from?
I have a more.
I never asked.
Okay.
I like,
That's interesting.
I have a more of an interesting story for that. So when I first arrived, I came with VSO and I only had 1 week in UB, and I arrived in winter. And this is why I say, if you love Mongolia in winter, you can
survive.
Yeah. Not just survive, you can stay here. So I arrived in winter, and after I did my in-country training, less than a week, I was shipped to the countryside. That's how I like to say it. Because I didn't know what I was doing.
right?
Yeah.
Which Dondro?
No, Overhangai.
Overhangai.
Yeah,
I was like born and raised in the countryside of Mongolia.
So I go to Overhangai on the first, after like the first week, immediately I get into one of those, I call them, the Russian vans.
Furgon?
Yeah. I call it bongo bongo bus at that time.
Furgon.
Furgon. Yeah, so I was put onto this, and we went to visit some hospitals. I came here as a IT engineer in health. So just helping people with setting up computers and so on in hospitals and all. And we arrived to the first SUM. It's called Tarag. I still remember that. And we get to a hospital at night, in the evening, and there was a lady, I think, who was giving birth, and the husband was waiting for her outside. The moment he saw me coming out of the fourgon, his eyes locked on me.
You could feel it.
Her the guy. I walked in past him, and he's just looking at me like this. Then they took us to a room. At that time, they had something called Universal Best Song or something.
Yes,
TV show.
UBS, yes,
Yeah.
the Universal Best Song, yes.
So where the hospital people are preparing for a place for us to kind of stay the night, they put us in this small waiting room, and he just stood in the corner looking at me while I was watching what's going on TV. This went on for over half an hour. He did not leave. His eyes did not. Yeah. Now imagine, I did have my big afro.
Big afro.
Yeah.
In Urhangai, in winter.
In winter.
It's like a head.
Yeah.
And like, I remember they said, okay, the rooms are ready. So I get up and this guy is following me all the way up the stairs.
Oh my
So, yeah, I was very, unique, I guess.
So like there's a saying, you were the rabbit with the horn.
Yeah. But what's interesting, there's a lot of like Mongolians will assume that I was Arab or Indian. Some will assume that I'm American and ask me about basketball. I don't know nothing about basketball.
He has nothing to do with basketball. Cricket, maybe.
Yeah. What about you? Where do people assume you're from?
Mostly Russian, which I'm sometimes a little bit offended because I think that sometimes people think that people come either from Russia or from America, like if there were no other countries. So I always take an effort and I try to explain them, okay, there are some other countries as well, and I come from Europe, but they're again German. And no, Germany. No, there are also other countries in Europe than Germany. So immediately when I say Czechoslovak, they all know. Yeah. They all remember Czech cartoons. They have historically we had and Czechs still have very good relations with Mongolia, with Mongolians. Immediately when they hear that, they kind of feel closer to me, and we built some kind of a relationship. But yeah, people should not assume that everyone comes from Russia. Yeah. And especially when sometimes they hear me speaking. Sometimes I take a taxi with my daughter and I try to tell her and I tell her something in Slovak, and they are immediately, maybe they do not understand, but they think that I'm speaking Russian or some kind of a language similar to Russian.
Similar to sounds.
Yes. Accent maybe, so they assume, okay, I'm Russian, and they also speak Russian with her. Yeah. And it's like, no, she doesn't speak any Russian. She simply just speak to her in Mongolian. That will be more than enough.
Actually, I think back, I mean, I don't know, but like there's a certain age group here that you meet in Mongolia that a majority is studied in Czech.
Yes.
Especially people who studied like
there are like communities.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah. So you can be surprised. I know some people immediately spoke to me like a couple of Arabic words, and I'm like, how do you know Arabic? Oh, I used to study in Czech, and we had like people from all over the world and stuff. Yeah.
But in Czech, there are like a lot of there are also a lot of Mongolians out there.
Yes,
right?
yes. I think actually the biggest community of Mongolians are located in the Czech Republic. I was just in Prague and in Slovakia a couple of weeks ago, and I was walking with my mom and with my son in a park, and I saw on a bench there were two girls, and I told my mom, these two girls are Mongolians. And she was like, how do you know? And so, Mom, I'm 100% sure. And we come closer, and I heard them speaking. They were almost like fighting, talking, gossiping about something, and they were just speaking Mongolian. So. So the community is big in Czech.
But it's quite interesting you say that. Back when I go to London, I can tell Mongolians, of course, and immediately I'll just go and say Samano or Sano. They get shocked. I'm like, oh, but like being able to distinguish between Mongolians and other Asians now, it's quite interesting. Yeah, because when I first came in, all Asians look the same to me.
Yeah, that's true. I have a very good story. I was with a friend of mine in Vienna 6 or 7 years ago, and there was a family of Mongolians, and I told my friend they are Mongolians, and she's a little bit crazy, and she immediately runs towards them, and she asked me how to say hi. And I say, just say Seno. And she immediately ran towards them, and she said Seno, but she didn't say it to the parents, but to a small boy, like 5-year-old boy, and he started crying because he got scared. And of course the parents immediately came, and I was so shocked, and I could not really say any words. I just said, sorry, my crazy friends.
Like approach to the 5-year-old. That was an amazing choice right there.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I guess when you live here long enough, you start like kind of knowing. Okay, this person is Korean. This person is
Yeah.
I think it depends on which country you're living in which part of Asia you're living, right? I'm not sure, like, like when I went to, like I said, right, in India, I couldn't tell, like, even I'm a Mongolian, but I couldn't tell if this guy was a Mongolian or Tibetan or Bhutanese or even I got a really bad mistake. When I reached there, I got into a fight in my first week because, like, we were young and then wanted to see one of these clubs, and then one of our friend who lived there long enough wanted to show us around. Then we went to a club, and then this guy was, like, really aggressive, and then I was telling him, like, look, we don't want any trouble, like, we're here just to, like, check around, and then please go away. But then we had a fight, and I expected him to be Japanese. I'm like, I'm so sorry. But then later on, like, we got into a fight, and then next day, I met an Indian guy to be my friend, and we've been friends forever. And then this guy told me, like, do you remember that fight that you did in your first week? And I'm like, how do you know? And he was like, I was there. I saw you first time there. And then that guy was not Japanese. That was Tibetan. I'm like, oh, God, like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but
tell.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter where we come from, right? It matters what we do, what we want to do, also for the country that we live in.
Yeah.
Like for two of us, we've been in Mongolia. It's basically our home, or maybe our second home. And we try to do our best to develop the country and to make, connections with people living here, to make friendships, to ensure that our children, they grow up in a healthy and nice environment, and just to do our best for the country.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well said on that. Yeah.
That was like,
Yeah.
And now I really feel we have a woman on our podcast. Like, that was great.
You should maybe invite more.
You know what? Yeah.
This should be the guideline.
Anyone out there, any woman out there, please let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
No, but it's true. Like, also, okay, I came here. I started working for an NGO, and everybody says, "Oh, you are doing an amazing job." But 80-90% of my job is just doing admin stuff, writing reports, communicating with donors, etc. So it's kind of boring, but at the end of the day, I feel really accomplished. I feel really that we are doing something for the country, for the community. Maybe not for all. Not everybody can feel the impact of our projects, of our initiatives, but I still believe that many people do. But the priorities have changed since I gave birth to my children. And now I see everything differently. Now I see also what I am doing, what my colleagues are doing, what people in the development sector, what they are doing. It's basically to ensure that the future will be different. It will be better than it is today.
Yeah.
And how it's going to end up, I am not sure.
Well, I think the most important when you work when you do development work is to feel that working from a grassroots level, and you can actually see the impact on the people that you work with. I think the most satisfying job I ever got was those 2 years working for VSO. I mean, volunteering, but satisfied, really satisfied, because I saw changes happening in front of me. Like, I connect internet to a hospital, helping, for example, accountants. Not every month or like couple of months they used to bring their computers to the center of the AMEC.
The big ones, right?
The actual big computers, And you'll see 20 accountants coming from all over Hungary AMEC, and all of them don't know even this. So you do a training on Excel, you connect the internet for them in the hospital over there. They don't need to come. You teach them how to send emails. I mean, what I'm saying now is very basic, but that was almost 12, 13 years ago. So it made an impact. And then sending all of these reports to UB by email, and helping doctors do research, doing telemedicine, you can see the impact in front of you. And I guess big organizations like, let's say, UN or whatever, you don't really, if you work for them, you don't see the impact you're doing.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's quite interesting.
Yes.
So is there any project that you actually saw direct impact from the last projects you Done?
Yeah, I would say all of them. All of them. Even I still would love to have more, in-person meetings and participate in more events, and simply just to connect more with our beneficiaries, with people whom we implemented the projects for, because already at my level it's more about fundraising and really making sure that the reports are there, that the operations are going smoothly, etc. But I used to, before kids especially, I used to have more connections with people. Now it's not the case on the everyday basis, but I tried at least once in 2 weeks or once in a month really to go and to talk to our beneficiaries, to make sure that they are really happy with what we are doing, etc. There are several success stories that I could share. For instance, we organized one of the first crowdfunding events in Mongolia. We basically selected 6 very good ideas, 4 from different AMEX and 2 from UB. And we invited many people to come to our event to contribute financially as well as non-financially for those projects. And one of our beneficiaries, one of the projects, was a lady who is, now I don't want to say it incorrectly, but maybe he's 80% blind. She's employed at a private company, and her dream is to create a website where she would make sure that should basically make it easier for people who are experiencing the same challenges as she is, to make it easier to get a job, to get some advice, maybe also to advise to employees how they should adjust their operations and their modus operandi to people who are to people with disabilities. And she managed to get some money, funding from individual donors as well as from institutional donors. So it's one of the success stories. And even though the website is still not up there, but she's working, and soon it will be online. And there are many other success stories. For instance, we work with one orphanage here in UB, where there are more than, I believe now it's around 40 or 50 kids under 18, and we support them on the yearly basis. We organize a donation in the Czech Republic, and we send them money directly, and we also participate in their New Year's party, and it's just amazing to see those kids.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's
it's really nice.
wow.
Yeah.
If you need any if you need any support with the website,
That's what I was just trying to tell you. Is
we're
willing to help.
Yeah,
Yes,
so.
I think, and maybe that's something that I would add, because especially when I do job interviews, I interview around 5 to 10 people for one job position, and most of the people, when I ask them why would you like to do this job, they most of them say because I want to help people, and it's not always the case that you feel like you are helping people on the everyday basis, and that's why many people simply drop and they find a job, a better paid job in a private sector, etc. So working in the development sector or doing something for people, for your community, for your country, you can do it while working in the private sector. You can do it while working in the public sector. In any sector, there are so many opportunities. As you said, it's volunteering, for instance. Volunteering is becoming more and more seen, and there are more opportunities for people to volunteer, not only for students, but also for adults, for kids, for families, etc. So if someone really wants to, they can definitely find an opportunity to do so.
Absolutely.
Instead of taking a job there, right?
Yes. Because to be honest, jobs in the development sector are not paid enough. I would say if I could, I would really love to pay more to our colleagues or to people simply who are working in the development sector. And also it can be sometimes discouraging, because people come with big ambitions, and they want to see the impact, they want to see the progress tomorrow when they start the project today, and they want to see the results tomorrow. But it takes years, even decades to see the result. And sometimes it might not even come. Sometimes only the process is enough. And the results might come or might not.
This is very true, because I hosted one of the closing event of the UNICEF that was like I mentioned earlier, the project against the domestic violence, and and then they continued for 7 years to
Yeah.
achieve what they've done, right? And then after 7 years, you were reporting like what they've did, and then if the changes were made and what happened, and then it seems like it decides after like many years they decide whether they want to continue or not again,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So this is like something to not to expect in
What-
in a
what-
few years.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest issues with development work is not just the fact that when you see the result, but kind of having a bit of sustainability. Because, for example, let's say you build a website
Yeah.
and you can maintain it for the first year. You have enough money,
Yeah.
but if there isn't a way to generate money for this project to continue, it's going to stop as soon as the donations are done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this is one of the biggest issues facing development work. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, how do you continue and make it kind of sustainable for at least 10 years, let's say?
Yeah.
And it's really, really difficult.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah.
But I believe it's manageable. I believe there is a way, or there are different ways how to make sure that sustainability is there, and also sustainability is one of the most important factors when you are applying for a project, for funding from donors. They really want to make sure that the project will be done in 2 or 3 years. So what's next? And one of the ways is to hand over the project, the results, not even to hand over, but to, from the very first day, to start working with local communities, with young people, with representatives from Horo and SUMS and different AMACs, etc., just to ensure that there is this local ownership. Because if you are just going to hand over something to them, like for instance, when you travel to the countryside, there are many empty buildings, buildings that were built by different international organizations. And then there is like maintenance costs, etc. Someone has to take care of it, and because there is not enough money from the local budget, so it's just it's almost not possible to stay there because it's super cold and it's almost like going to fall down. So from the very first day, this local ownership must be there.
Yeah.
People who live in those particular provinces, in those particular regions, they have to be a part of any initiative of any project, even though money comes from international donors, etc. We really need to make sure that this part
managing that.
Exactly. They are a part of the process.
Do you think kind of like, and this is something I thought about a lot, think it's a good idea to build some kind of, a business around it to generate money,
Yes.
to continue and to pay for people?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what I was thinking. Like
Yeah.
And like usually, have you done any projects similar to that where the actual project started generating its own money to continue being sustainable? Or
We have supported several business ideas. For instance, there is an association that work with women on wheelchair, and they, because there is so few job opportunities for them, they started their own business. They make like very nice baskets from recycled paper. So it's kind of also they use paper and recycle it, as well as they earn some money for their own business. So we support them financially to train more women, especially in the countryside, so that they can start again their own businesses in their particular provinces, etc. So this is just one of the examples of the business ideas that we have supported.
Oh, that's quite good. Do you work? Do you collaborate with any other NGOs? Within the country?
Oh, with many.
Yeah.
No,
With many.
Because
on the CV, I was there.
yeah, no, I mean,
You've fundraised to these, many NGOs here from local
Yes,
NGOs.
yes,
right?
yes. We mostly cooperate with local NGOs because, again, as we already talked about, it's also about local ownership. Okay, we will leave sooner or later as an international organization, because I strongly believe that Mongolia at some point will be so strong and self-sufficient, self-sustainable enough that most of the international organizations are gonna leave the country, or they will maybe change the the strategy of theirs. So working with local organizations is really crucial. We need to make sure that they are strong enough, that they can fundraise for their own needs, that they can write their own projects, they have their HR and all the policies are strong enough to basically operate even after we leave the country. It's just amazing to work with them. Especially because of one of our projects is working with youth CSOs, and every time I meet them, I just come with so much enthusiasm and motivation. Those are young people who maybe did not experience all the bad things in their lives, so they are still like very idealistic, and they want to do good, not really focusing on money or on profit, etc. They want to improve their communities. So it's just amazing to work with local organizations.
Nice.
Yeah.
I wanted actually to ask you. Sorry, I'm gonna be a little bit Mongolian. Ask you some personal questions.
Just go for it.
Can you tell us a little bit about your relationship? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, women in Mongolia, foreigners, who want to date and get into the dating scene and looking for something serious. So what are the things to talk about? I don't know. I don't have a particular questions, but I just let it an open-ended question. So,
I think the most important when thinking or talking about, relationships, it doesn't have to be Mongolian men and foreign women, but any
type of relationship,
any kind of relationships, is just to be open, to be honest from the very beginning. It didn't happen in our case, but I heard that in many cases just the family gets really involved in the relationship, and then it's just usually it doesn't end up very well. Again, it was not our case. My husband's parents, they studied in the Czech Republic. So from the very beginning, they felt some connection to me, and already their older daughter was married, or at the time was in a relationship with the German guy. So they already had some kind of experience with having in-laws, not in-laws, like son-in-law or daughter-in-law from other countries. But yeah, to be open, to be honest with each other from the very beginning, and we never, when we first met, it was not the case that we would, promise each other to stay in touch or just to stay together, etc. It's just somehow smoothly we stayed in touch. He went back to Mongolia, I went back to Slovakia, because at the time we were still studying, we were still doing our bachelor degrees, both of us. And we stayed in touch, and then we decided, okay, maybe it's time for me to visit Mongolia, and I was really excited because I always wanted to travel. And I had some money left, so I bought a ticket and I came here. And my friends thought that, okay, you are crazy and this is not going to end up well. And I just didn't have any kind of expectations. I just didn't have. I didn't know how this is going to. This is simply how this is going to end up. And then when I decided to move to Mongolia so I first found an internship. I did a 3-month internship at the Institute for Strategic Studies, which is basically a non-governmental organization, but still it's under the what is it called? I don't remember, but it's under one of the governmental agencies. Then I stayed here. I stayed here as an English teacher because I wanted to stay in the country to explore a little bit more, to learn. I attended a Mongolian language course, etc. And it just somehow, we didn't know that this is how it's going to end up. We never knew. We never kind of expected that, okay, one day we will have kids, etc. It just kind of went on smoothly.
I mean, that's the key, I think, not having any expectations.
Yeah.
That's nice.
How old were you guys, when you first met?
21.
21.
Yeah.
Oh, that's...
21. 13 years ago.
Wow.
Now, that's a good advice.
But also, when you get married early or get into a relationship early and take it serious, it works because there is no expectation. There is no, you don't have an idea of who your partner is, and I feel like the older you get, the more
filter you get.
Yes, yeah. You want someone a certain way, a certain attitude, a certain look, a certain job, a certain career, whatever the case may be. But you start putting kind of more rules on yourself, instead of just let
like limitations and everything. Right? There was one of my friends, I have a family, but then he was just mentioning that try to get married when you're still stupid. I'm like, whoa, where is this coming from? You're not married. but then it was a good advice because he said I'm married, but then he was trying to tell the rest of the world that and then the reason that he's not getting married is that it seems that's what he explained to me.
Right. I think there is no magical formula on relationships, etc. I think everybody should find a way that works best for them. For us, we were I don't know how it was from my husband's side, but for example, on my side, my classmates, most of my friends, also my family, my parents, they were not really supportive of our relationship. And at the time, I would not even call it a relationship. But somehow simply things moved on, and then when, for instance, I remember first time when I told my mom that I found an internship in Mongolia and I'm going to move to Mongolia, she got furious. Really, she got really, really furious because she thought that I am.
You're going for him.
Yes, she thought that I'm going for him, but also she thought that I'm kind of giving up on my dreams because I wanted to work for the European Union. I wanted to go to Brussels, to New York, to do something huge, and suddenly I decided to go to Mongolia, which basically was huge for me. But on the a little bit, I saw it from a different perspective. So we managed to work out. I have friends who got married, who were in a relationship since they were in the early 20s. They started living together when they were 21. They've also they criticized my relationship, and now they are divorced. They have a kid. Basically it did not work out for them, and this kind of relationship worked out for us so far.
Were your parents here in Mongolia?
No, unfortunately, they never visited.
Oh, well, hopefully there will be a chance to visit.
Yeah, I hope so.
Point of view will be changed.
I have a question.
Don't bring it in winter.
When you guys got married, your husband, and your mom first met, after all of the, how it was and stuff, how did the dynamic change?
It got smoother. So my mom, she can't speak English. She cannot speak any foreign language. So they will always have different. They will always have this language
barrier.
Yeah, language barrier, and it's pretty much the same between me and and his parents. It's changed. I would say now it's smooth, especially because we have kids. So things have changed.
And how is the dynamic between your kids and your mom? Because this idea of my daughter is married to an Asian, which is not like my daughter's married to a European or someone, so.
I think especially my mom, she doesn't really care about what others are saying. So even there might be from time to time, it's a small country, Slovakia, and we live in the second biggest city, but still the community is small, so there might be some gossips or some comments about how is it possible and why this black sheep of the family or something like that. But I think that my mom doesn't really care, never really cared.
That's quite nice.
And I also wanted to know, what you guys did with the names with the children.
Sorry, say it again.
What did you guys do with the names of the children?
Names of the children. Okay, so my daughter's name we chose together based on a book of the Mongolian history. I'm not going to say the name if it's okay.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine.
And my son's name was chosen by my father-in-law. by my husband's father.
Did you guys try that rice picking thing?
No.
But you heard about it, right?
Yes, I heard about it, but we knew from the very beginning that we want our father to choose the name. So we told him, and he had enough time to choose, and we gave him some conditions.
Like, look, filter down, narrow down to this.
to one name.
One name.
No. So we told him not to choose a very long name because it's very difficult with long names. And to not, we kind of not pre-selected, but we said, okay, these names, no, because we knew those people with those names, and we didn't want to have our kids to have the same name. And then he made a very good choice.
So basically, my question was like, you gave Mongolian names.
Yes, they have. Sorry, they have Mongolian names, but also they have middle names which are Slovak.
So in Slovak also you guys use middle names.
No, we don't. But I wanted them to have Slovak name because they are half Slovak, and they will be for the rest of their lives. So I wanted, even though we are living in Mongolia, this is our home, but it might happen at some point that we will decide to move either to Slovakia or to any EU country, and I want them to have this connection to my country, to their country as well.
Very good. Yeah. So smart. That's smart.
You guys were like early on when you guys were talking about kids and things. And remember, I told you like when Baggy took his son to kindergarten first, he's like came here very emotional, and I think his son was very happy the fact that he's in kindergarten. So in terms of like Mongolian men being emotional sometimes, how did that kind of
I think most of the time it's almost like the society tells Mongolian men not to be emotional, because it's a sign of weakness, being too soft, etc. It's connected to this macho environment of Mongolia. But people are allowed to be emotional, right, from time to time, and they feel emotional. But it's better to really let it out than to just hide it inside, because at some point it's going to burst out. So Baggy emotional when his when his child went to the kindergarten for the first time. Those are emotional stuff like we have, right? When our kid goes to the kindergarten or goes to school, goes for a ballet lesson, etc. Those are emotional stuff. We, and as parents, we feel so proud, and it's better. As you said, it's better just to let it out.
It felt like a leap, right? A big leap in our children's life.
Yes, it is. Yes, even though they come back after 1 week with fever and with coughing, etc.
Very true.
Especially
1 week, got a flu, came back, and 20 days didn't go.
So for your kids at home, how do you entertain them? Slovakian TV, Mongolian TV?
I would say TV is restricted.
Okay.
Half an hour, 1 hour per day maximum. And I at the beginning, especially with my daughter who is older, I bought a couple of CDs, and I also
CDs.
Yes, I know it's like from the.
You have a CD player?
I still have.
Okay.
If Gen Z don't know what a CD is, it's around.
It's a disc.
It's around.
I know, but I found it not very practical. You are correct. So then I tried to watch with her a couple of Slovak cartoons, but she was not interested. She was really not interested. So she's kind of learning Slovak language just from me. We. Especially at home, we created our bubble. Our bubble. We speak with my husband. We speak English. And with our other kids, they are kind of getting all three languages at the same time, and they are learning that having different cultures or experiencing different cultures, there's nothing really wrong about it. You just have to create your own comfortable environment that you feel very good at.
That's great. So, like, I'm like, my son, like, he knows like very few words in Mongolian. He doesn't speak, still doesn't speak now, but he knows very few Mongolian words. But in English, he can understand everything because of these like cartoons and everything, right? He would count to 10. And then suddenly, starting from last week, he can count to 20 now. I'm like, oh, where did this come from?
Do you know, like, I think kids these days, I mean, this is something, Baggy's going to kill me for talking about it, but kids these days, they're learning a lot from technology. Yes. And the education system is still stuck, I think, like 100 years old or something. Yeah. And I sometimes worry about how that like there's no actually any innovation in terms of early stage kind of education. Yes. Where you see kids now knowing how to use a smartphone from the age of 1 or 2 years old, like flipping on YouTube and choosing what they want and all. Learning English. Here in Mongolia, you'll find there's a lot of like 5-year-olds who can speak English with an American accent because because that's what they watch and so on. And so what do you think the impact in terms of like you have your kids growing up and what do you see for their future in terms of
I think technology is great. But it has to be, we as guardians, parents, teachers, etc., we are responsible for what we are showing or what we are teaching our kids, right? Just to give a phone that is unblocked and just to let your kids to watch all the YouTube videos, etc., that's not a good idea. But having some good applications that are really, like I have just one application for my daughter, especially when we travel too long, when we get in a traffic jam, etc., then I give her. Then I give my phone to her, and then I see what she's doing. She's learning some songs, she's drawing, etc. I'm a little bit worried what's going to happen because you can already see with the different gadgets, etc., that people are getting, I would not say a little bit lazy, but they are finding the way how to do things not properly, like how to cheat, for instance, like high school students and university students, how to use different applications to write the essays, etc. And I think that those kind of skills are still very important to learn. And of course, technology will help them to improve, to make things better. But then some skills should be simply learned.
So these practical experiences.
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I mean, in the UK, for example, recently, the Prime Minister put as a mandate, like, well, not mandate, but, hopefully they're going to push people who are doing A-levels, and that's like the age of 16 to 18, it's going to be mandatory to push for English and math, where before it was optional. Until 16 it's mandatory, but after that it's optional. And the reason for this is, people are graduating or leaving school without basic knowledge of mathematics or so on.
Yeah.
And cut. I hope you're going to cut that out. My alarm just went on and it's on silent mode. Yeah, so the Prime Minister kind of put a mandatory for people to kind of learn. And like you said, people using tech to cheat, sometimes you're creating all of these write-up essays and whatnot, and nobody's reading them. And it's generated by AI, and nobody's reading them. So it's kind of weird or whatever,
I think especially we should be focusing when talking about education, etc., from the very young age on some specific skills that we should teach our kids. And I specifically mean especially critical thinking. So since the end of August, I also, besides my full-time job, I started teaching at one of the universities here. And I teach courses on international organizations, global governance, and introduction to development policy. And what I find is that what I find in students, the biggest challenge is for them to think critically, to have an opinion about something, because I have told them many times, there's no wrong, no right answer, but you have to have an opinion. And I see that it's sometimes very challenging for them to have that opinion and also to express the opinion, because without opinions, how our world is going to look like.
And it's also how this opinion is created, because if you get like one narrative and you have an opinion within that without knowing the whole without being able to see the whole picture and get your opinion from that, instead of just hearing one side of the story and just having an opinion. So yeah, you're right. Critical thinking is very important.
That is true, because of these technology and everything, like FOMO, right? Like fear of missing out. This is the main thing that I think that these opinions are shattered into pieces, because these young generation kids are scared of being on one side. They're really scared, whether because they're unsure that this side is wrong or right. They don't want to be on the wrong side, but then they don't want to have an opinion on it. And then we need to, this critical thinking should give a feeling for these new generation kids that, agreeing and disagreeing is okay, right? Like, you can disagree, you can agree, it's fine. This is something that the society and the community should let these kids understand, because of all these media, social media, all these platforms. These are we have to understand behind it there's a system working to to put you in one side. Yeah, and being against it it's great to have that critical thinking. Sure.
We as parents, we are also the teachers of our kids. So we as parents, we should also forget about how our parents raised us, and try to a little bit innovate ourselves as well. Because it's very easy to say to your kid when, for instance, how they brush their teeth. It's very easy to say, like, you are doing it wrong. This is how you should do it. But maybe also to accepting how they try to do it and try to, on the daily basis, regular basis, to make some improvement, etc., to give them a chance to find kind of the right way on their own. That's also how they will eventually improve their critical thinking, and also to talk to them. I think that nowadays parents do not talk enough with their children. It's from the very young age. Okay, like, for instance, I might when people maybe see me on the street, they might think that I'm crazy, but I always talk to my son, who is 1 year old. He never replies to me, unfortunately, even though he would like to say a lot. But I always talk to him. I always sing to him. I'm telling him, okay, look, this is a tree and this is a leaf, etc. But it's very, very important to talk to the kids and to have very serious conversations with them from the very young age, because this is a serious world, so they will really need to learn maybe some things earlier than us or our parents.
I heard that the children from age 1 to 3 is the main age that get all these informations, right?
Yeah. I think it's 1,000.
Even though they don't reply back.
Yes. First 1,000 days. Yeah, it's very important to talk to them and to show them, let them experience by their own.
There was one, I think it was an interview or news, not sure, read on site. It was saying, like, you can take your children even when they're in 2 or 1 year old, take them for a travel, bring it to different countries, even they save the information that they see in their brain, and then they would know later on. Somehow it saves it.
Yeah. I would say
it's like a memory card.
Yeah, because they say, oh, don't take a small minor children on a plane. Don't do that. They can't handle a long car travel and stuff, right? But I think that's wrong.
I just traveled with my 1 year old, and it was difficult.
It is difficult for us.
For him, it was amazing. He was so happy. So happy seeing new faces, new things, eating new food. But on the plane, oh my God, 8 hours on the plane was awful.
Yeah, that is true. I traveled with my nieces and nephews, and when my nieces were like about, one was 9 months, the other one was 1.5, and it was terrible.
That's an amazing age, you know.
But I have to say, especially on the plane from Istanbul to Ulaanbaatar, I have met so many amazing Mongolians who helped me on the plane. They saw that I am alone with the kid. And when I was struggling to a little bit calm him down, etc., especially one guy came to me and he said, I'll take him, just give him to me. It was an unknown person. At first I said, oh, maybe not. But then I said, okay, I need a break. So I gave my son to him, and he just, walked with him and kind of entertained him for half an hour, which was amazing. Mongolians are really great with children. I have some experience, people looking at us because my son was kicking, other people see it and he was a little bit crying, etc. And people looking at us like, almost like shut him down or just make him quiet. No, you do not make a child quiet. Okay, this is a child. It's totally normal. But Mongolians, maybe because they have more children than people in the West, or they simply from their heart they love children, and I've seen it many occasions.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen this where flying back to UB and you see people taking care of like other people's kids.
Yes.
So I assume, these must be friends and they know each other. No,
totally strangers.
They just met.
just met. They're just helping each other out, and then when you travel to the countryside and you start seeing how people are treating, and you assume, this house, these 3 kids belong to this person. No, it's a neighbor's kid. Or
yes. Yes. That's
or I don't know who is it.
So it's quite interesting.
Indeed.
Yeah. So do you sing to your son in Mongolian or Slovak or English? Or
a lot of lullabies, he said, right?
Yes. Mamo Nashir and Bolchmor Jiu.
And you do sing it in Mongolian language?
Yeah, I can sing it, and it's especially because we have those books that you press a key and the song starts singing. So I actually learned that, and also I learned it from my husband, who also sings to our kids. So I learned. I have to say maybe my pronunciation is not the best, so they will definitely not learn Mongolian from me. And sometimes when I cannot think of, because I gave birth here 2 times. Simply, I've been raising kids here from the very beginning, so I'm not really familiar with Slovak lullabies. So sometimes I use just words, and I use Mongolian lullabies. Songs, so I kind of combine it together. I just make something up.
If it's okay for you, could you sing us Mamo Nasha's first 2 sentences, like 2 rows?
No.
No. Same melody I say, but in Slovakian. that would be very nice.
Yeah, that would be great.
Maybe at the end.
Other than that, like, what else? We've been talking about the lifestyles now for a while, and then we wanted to ask a few questions about the work that you guys do, and then you were a teacher, and now you're the director at Caritas Czech Republic, and there were I saw your CV, I've been checking around, then there were more other places that you've been.
Yes.
So how many countries you've been doing these works, and then what impact do you think you guys are showing to Mongolian community and economy?
I have been working in the development sector since the university, and that's something also that I try to teach or show my students. Is that you need to be active. You need to start doing something from the very early age. You cannot just wait when you have a degree and then find a first job, etc. I started doing my first internship when I was 19, and it's kind of after 1 year or 1.5 years of not being paid. They employed me part-time, so I managed to also combine and financially sustain my life while still studying and working part-time. So I have lived and traveled to and implemented projects in several countries. Of course, I started in Slovakia, then I studied in Denmark, I worked a little bit in Germany, and we implemented projects, and I personally traveled to and stayed in different, especially Eastern European countries, such as Moldova, Georgia, Ukraine, and others, and also V4 countries, Visegrad 4 countries, so it's Slovakia, Czech Republic, Poland, and Hungary. I did some projects in Singapore, of course, in Mongolia. That would be pretty much it. I'm really happy that I actually managed to kind of build my knowledge and my experience before I came to Mongolia, and I learned so much since the first day I came here. I was offered this job when I was 29, and when I came here, many people thought that I'm too young and too female for this job, but so far we have managed to sustain our operations, to really make an impact in the country and in the society, and I'm very proud of, and I'm very glad that I've been working here for the last 5 years. With the people, amazing people of Mongolia, with all our stakeholders, all our partners, and then also the impact. Sometimes it's really hard to measure the impact. Of course, every project has its own indicator, so we can measure how many activities we have implemented, etc. But then, how I measure personally our impact is by listening to stories from people whom we work with, and that's what really makes a difference.
So on these projects that you guys do, like how does the Mongolian government get involved in it?
Yes, we cooperate with the Mongolian government. We cooperate mainly with particular ministries. So for instance, our plastic recycling project, we have the closest cooperation with the Ministry of Environment and Tourism. Our youth project, we cooperate with the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection. We used to have a project on construction and demolition waste. We had a really great cooperation with the Ministry of Construction and Urban Development, because without them it just would not really make a sense. We could organize or we could implement the project on the community level, but if we want to make a difference on the national level, on the policy level, then it's very important to work together. Yes, with the government. Yeah.
So is there anything, and I know it might be a little bit of a controversial question, but is there anything that you would like to see happening, let's say in Mongolia, more like, or a push, let's say, not necessarily from governments, but like maybe other NGOs or so, to push something here that can make an impact on people's life immediately? Yeah,
I love controversial questions and issues. There are so many things that could be done differently and could be done more. First of all, everybody should realize that they can make a change, that they can make a difference, they can make an impact, and that impact can be small, it can be big. It's better to start with a small initiative, small project, that doesn't necessarily need a huge funding, and maybe it can grow to something bigger. When we talk about the environment, since the 1 billion initiative, everybody keeps talking about planting trees, and we should stop with that, in my opinion, and talk about real changes, because just by planting trees, things are not going to change. Environment will not get cleaner, we will not produce less greenhouse gases, etc. There are so many things that should be done. Mongolia is huge, and that's an advantage as well as a disadvantage when we talk about, especially about the environmental issues. It's difficult to keep it clean, to keep trash from sacred places, from rivers, etc. So I would say it's everyone's responsibilities. And while people think, or people still have a perception that most of the projects are being implemented in UB, I actually think that many things that UB is not kind of profiting. It's not the target area of many of the projects. And we just walk here on the street. We see trash everywhere. We see people who are not really taking care of the environment. They are not really simply being nice to others, etc. So I think that UB should become actually the target area of many development projects, because we will not stop the immigration,
the people coming to the
people coming from the countryside. Yes, it will not stop. Yeah, it might get better when we manage to build and create jobs in the countryside. However, it will never stop, because people are started joining their families who are already located in UB, like elderly people. Simply, if there is only one family member left in the countryside, of course she or he will come to the city. Sure. It's there's no way around it. What else? We should be investing more in young people, and this is kind of a slogan that also some politicians are using, but they are not doing enough, or they are not doing it in a way that it should be done. We tend to not to listen to people whom we want to help. So before starting anything, we should listen to their needs. First of all, have like rounds of discussions and negotiations with people whom we want to help. That would be the most important things that I would mention.
Yeah, I'd like to add.
Was great.
I'd like to add one thing.
Yeah.
I usually walk around UB, but for some reason these days, like walking around, you can't find any trash cans, like garbage. It's like somebody came and took them.
It was like
I don't know what happened.
Imagine like probably starting from 2015, I think. My generation guys, like from the kids who was born from the 80s, right, and 90s, they're all grown up now, all have their own businesses, positions, and everyone. We were like screaming since 2015 to have these trash cans, and there's still not enough.
Yeah.
And it's been 8 years past, and that's not a big deal to solve.
Funny thing is,
like put a trash can in every 100 meters, every 50 meters. That's not a big deal. Instead of putting these
funny
stones
thing is,
circling the square.
There was some trash cans, but they've been taken away. Like especially if you walk around Seoul Street, like 15 zone. So there was like every 100 or something meters there was a trash.
Mostly those trash.
And I was like, where is it?
Yeah.
But you're right. Like talking to people and seeing kind of how the impact of society, especially. I don't want to. I don't want to talk anything too serious, but for example, right now, next year is an election year, and with my basic Mongolians, you hear people on social media talking about things, and Baggy, that's something maybe you can elaborate on. I feel like kids are not being listened to, teens and.
You mean the influencer part? Yeah. So this is something that what I've been thinking. Like I don't know about you guys, but in Mongolia, like influencers talking about politics on their own pages and all of whatever platform they're using is. I don't like that, because I think that's something that changing the views of the young generation, because obviously the young generation does not have much knowledge about the politics, and then they're still on the age of voting age, right? Like 18 and 19, but you would not figure out what's wrong and right. Because I remember I didn't know anything about politics till when I was age of 25. So till then, right? So there's 7 years of voting years that will be stolen by these influencers who got paid by the politicians. And I'm really against that.
Yeah. They should. I don't know how, but they should really be accountable. Whatever they are saying, because it's they can influence thousands and thousands of young people, but are they really taking accountability for what they are saying? Are they really being accountable for that?
Well,
that's the question.
A big example of that is in the UK, Brexit. Brexit was all of the propaganda and so on was being pushed, and people really didn't understand the policies. And they voted to get out of the European Union. And now almost 70-80% of the UK is regretting this. So, so needs some accountability.
Yeah, politics is a is a complicated issue. But what I would say, and something that I would like to see more, especially in UB, because I live here, I am part of the community, etc., is people being more involved in their particular community, in their apartment buildings. People do not even say hello to each other, even though they live on the same floor. People live in their own bubble, and when there is some trash or when something is going on a few meters further from the house, it's not their concern. Yeah. So there are so many ways how to be more engaged in their communities, and I think that everybody should. It's not about time. It's not about money. It's just about we are a part of this country, of this city, of this district, and especially of this community. So if you feel really depressed or not really motivated to make a change on the national level, on the city level, then just try to do something on the community level, and it will be more than enough.
At the end, we are the social product, right? So be a good social product then, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have reached the end of the podcast. Then we usually leave the last moment to our guests. So if there's anything that you would like, we didn't ask, and also if anything that you want to share with our viewers, and if there's a quote that you would like to share. This is your
I should have prepared something. I just want to say at the end that Mongolia, for us, for people from other countries, it is an amazing country, and especially because of its people. Mongolians are really great people. They have open hearts, and open hearts to us, to expatriates, to foreigners, and me, and I'm sure that many others are really grateful for that. And only together we can improve the country. Some things are a little bit more difficult to improve. It must be also understood that no country in the world is perfect. Same my home country, I could talk about for hours how many things are not doing great. But because I live here and right now, my main objective is to improve or to make things a little bit better, especially for our future generations. So I think that everybody can contribute in this effort.
Thank you. Thank you for being on our podcast.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Last word. What's your favorite Mongolian word to say?
Oh, yes.
Word?
Yes, Mongolian word.
Mongolian phrase, Mongolian word that you use
so
all the
we,
time.
From the beginning, we had yakste, we had hots, we had what? There were like bunch of words that they usually.
I have some I know some swear words, but no, we shouldn't say those ones. So my favorite is Jana. Yeah. Oh my God! And it's mainly because when people do not get my name, I usually use it. It's like Jana, but a little bit shorter.
Yeah, and I also started the podcast wrong. Like I called her Jana.
That's fine. I got used to it.
Yeah. All right. So thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. And this was our episode 6. And hopefully we will see you on the episode 7 back again. Please press subscribe. It doesn't cost you much, but it helps a lot to us. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.